You tell yourself you want peace. You meditate. You journal. You cut out toxic people. And yet somehow, chaos always finds you. The relationship that should have been stable implodes. The job that was supposed to be your breakthrough becomes a battlefield. The moment life gets quiet, you feel an almost magnetic pull toward destruction. What if I told you this isn't bad luck? What if the chaos you keep attracting isn't happening to you, it's happening through you? Your psyche has a hidden architecture, and right now, every unresolved fracture inside you is broadcasting a frequency that summons turmoil into your external world. Carl Jung called this the internal mirror, and if you don't learn how to master it, you will spend your entire life mistaking your own reflection for an enemy. Think about the last time everything in your life was calm. Really calm. No drama, no emergencies, no conflict. How long did it last before you felt restless? Before a small irritation became an argument? Before you did something consciously or not that stirred the waters again? Most people believe chaos attacks them from the outside. The truth is far more unsettling. The truth is that your unconscious mind is terrified of stillness, and it will manufacture storms just to feel something familiar. Jung understood this almost a century ago when he said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You're calling it chaos, but it's not chaos. It's code. There is a mirror inside every human being. Not a literal one, a psychological structure Jung called the projection apparatus. It's the mechanism by which you see in other people what you refuse to see in yourself. The boss who always undermines you, what part of you undermines yourself? The partner who is emotionally unavailable. Where are you emotionally unavailable to your own needs? The friend who betrayed you, have you betrayed your own values repeatedly and never held yourself accountable? You don't attract these people by coincidence. You attract them because they are wearing the face of your own disowned self. This is not metaphor. This is operational reality. Your psyche is a living system, and every part of you that you exile to the shadow doesn't disappear, it migrates outward. It becomes the people who hurt you. It becomes the circumstances that defeat you. It becomes the chaos you swear you didn't ask for. The internal mirror is ruthless in its precision, and until you turn around and face what's behind the glass, every attempt to fix your outer life will be like trying to calm a storm by yelling at the waves. Let's begin with what chaos actually is, because the definition matters. Chaos is not disorder in the objective sense. Chaos is the collapse of a meaning structure you were depending on. When your relationship suddenly makes no sense, you call it chaos. When your career path vanishes, you call it chaos. When your health fails without warning, you call it chaos. In every case, the pain isn't just the event, it's the shattering of a story you were telling yourself. I am in a loving partnership. Shattered, I am on a stable trajectory. Shattered, I am healthy and in control. Shattered, the chaos is the rubble of a narrative you needed to be true. And here's what Jung would tell you. The narrative was a lie built by the persona, and the chaos is the first honest thing that's happened to you in years. Now I want you to see something. When chaos arrives, what is your first move? You scramble to rebuild the story. You look for someone to blame. You try to control what's left. You resist the disintegration with everything you have. But what if chaos isn't an intruder? What if it's a messenger? A messenger from the parts of your own soul that you locked in the basement decades ago, and they've finally gotten strong enough to bang on the door. Jung wrote extensively about this. He said that neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. The chaos you call neurosis, the chaos you call bad luck, the chaos you call other people's fault, it's all a substitute for the suffering you refuse to face within yourself. And here's the terrifying truth. You will keep attracting chaos in direct proportion to the amount of inner work you are avoiding. Let's map this out structurally, because if you don't understand the mechanism, you'll keep treating symptoms while the root festers underground. There are 5 distinct phases in the relationship between your internal mirror and the chaos in your life, and I need you to listen carefully, because phase 1 is where almost everyone gets trapped forever. Phase 1, the comfort of catastrophe. There's a reason peace feels uncomfortable. It's not because peace is inherently painful, it's because peace is unfamiliar to a nervous system calibrated for threat. If you grew up in an environment where love was unpredictable, where anger erupted without warning, where safety was conditional, your body learned a brutal lesson. Vigilance is survival. Your autonomic nervous system wired itself to scan for danger constantly. And when danger isn't present, it doesn't relax, it panics. Because absence of threat feels like absence of data. And a hypervigilant system without data will hallucinate. This is why, when life gets quiet, you feel an eerie dread. It's not intuition. It's not a premonition of doom. It's your neurophysiology screaming that something is wrong, because nothing is wrong. And what happens next is devastating. Your unconscious mind, desperate to resolve the dissonance, begins to generate or attract situations that match your internal state. You pick a fight with your partner. You procrastinate on a deadline until the crisis is real. You gravitate toward people whose instability feels like home. The chaos doesn't come from outside, it emanates from a nervous system that cannot tolerate the unfamiliar terrain of calm. Jung described this as the repetition compulsion, the psyche's insistence on recreating traumatic patterns, not because it enjoys suffering, but because it seeks mastery. The unconscious believes that if it can just replay the wound enough times, it will finally figure out how to survive it. But that's not mastery, that's addiction. You are addicted to chaos, not chemically, but neurologically. Your brain has built its identity around crisis management, and identity will always protect itself, even at the cost of your happiness. Here's a question you've never been asked. What would be left of you if the chaos stopped? If there were no emergencies, no betrayals, no conflicts, who would you be? If that question makes your chest tighten, you've just located the epicenter. The chaos you attract is a defense against that question. Because if you stopped fighting, you'd have to feel. And what's under the fight is grief. Grief for the childhood you didn't get. Grief for the person you became to survive. Grief for all the unlived life you traded for safety. You don't attract chaos because you're broken. You attract chaos because you're running from an unwept sorrow, and the soul would rather manufacture a war than sit in a silence filled with tears. Phase 2, the mirror of projection. So you've unconsciously generated chaos through your nervous system's addiction to familiar pain. But there's a second layer, and this one is even harder to accept. The specific shape your chaos takes, the kind of people who betray you, the kind of failures you endure, the kind of conflicts that repeat. These are not random. They are projections. And projection is not a theory. It is a psychological law as reliable as gravity. Jung observed that when you have a quality you cannot accept in yourself, a rage, a neediness, a selfishness, a vulnerability, it does not disappear. It moves into the shadow, and from there it is projected onto others. You don't see the critic inside you, so you see a world full of judgmental people. You don't see your own capacity for cruelty, so you are perpetually victimized by cruel people. You don't see your own hunger for control, so you keep encountering controlling bosses, controlling partners, controlling systems. The external world becomes a screen, and your shadow is the projector. Let me give you an example that might land hard. I know someone who constantly complains that people take advantage of her generosity. She gives and gives, and somehow always ends up drained by narcissists and takers. When she described this pattern, she was angry at the world. But when I asked her one question, everything shifted. Where in your life are you refusing to receive? Where are you so terrified of being perceived as selfish that you've built an entire identity around giving, and you secretly resent everyone who dares to receive from you? She broke down. Because the takers she kept attracting were external mirrors of her own disowned capacity to take. She had exiled her own needs so thoroughly that they had to come back to her in the form of demanding others. She wasn't a victim of narcissists. She was in a relationship with her own unacknowledged hunger, wearing their faces. This is the mirror. Every person who unsettles you, enrages you, or devastates you is showing you something you have refused to integrate. Not because they're not actually harmful, sometimes they are. But your emotional reaction is the clue. If someone's behavior wounds you, there's a wound to be wounded. A healed person can observe toxicity and walk away without internal devastation. An unhealed person bleeds. And if you keep bleeding, you keep attracting those who carry a knife, not because the universe is cruel, but because your unhealed wound emits a signal that only those with blades can perceive. So now the pattern becomes visible. Phase 1, your nervous system craves familiar chaos. Phase 2, your projections ensure that the chaos arrives in shapes precisely tailored to your shadow content. You are not a passive recipient of misfortune. You are an active, albeit unconscious, participant in a theater where you've written the script, cast the actors, and forgotten you're the playwright. And the audience, your conscious mind, sits in the dark, confused, believing the tragedy is real. Phase 3, the saboteur is midwife at this point. You might be feeling guilt or self-blame. Don't. The psyche is not your enemy. The chaos is not punishment. It's communication. Jung was adamant that what we call self-sabotage is often the soul's intelligence overriding the ego's agenda. When you keep sabotaging relationships, careers, or stability, you need to ask what part of you is being betrayed by those achievements. What part of your soul is being starved by the life you've built? I once spoke with a man who had climbed to the top of his industry. He had money, status, influence, and every 2 years, like clockwork, he would do something that destroyed it. An affair, an outburst, a reckless investment. He came to me exhausted, convinced he was broken. But when we examined the pattern, we found something profound. The man he had become the suit. The boardroom, the performance was built by a 14-year-old boy who grew up in poverty and swore he would never be powerless again. That boy built an empire to escape shame, but the empire, once built, became a prison. The man was spending 60 hours a week being someone he didn't even like, and the part of him that was suffocating the artist, the wanderer, the soft-hearted dreamer, had only one way to speak. It burned things down. That was not self-sabotage. That was self-rescue. The saboteur was the only part of him brave enough to say this life is a lie. And until he learned to listen to that voice consciously, it would continue to speak in the only language he'd given it: destruction. Jung called this the teleological function of the unconscious. The psyche has a goal wholeness, and it will move toward that goal with or without your cooperation. If you cooperate, growth feels like expansion. If you resist, growth feels like crisis. The chaos you attract is a crisis born of resistance. The soul is trying to birth a larger version of you, and your current identity is the birth canal that must stretch or tear. The pain is not pathology, it's process. So how do you know the difference between a chaos that's destroying you and a chaos that's transforming you? Ask yourself, is this chaos revealing something I've been hiding from? If yes, it's transformation wearing a frightening mask. Are you losing something you built on a false foundation? If yes, the chaos is demolition for a rebuild, not a burial. Does the pain come with an odd sense of recognition, as if you always knew this moment would arrive? That's the self, Jung's capital S self, the organizing center of the psyche, announcing that the game you've been playing is over. You attract chaos not because you're a magnet for tragedy, but because your soul is more committed to your wholeness than your comfort, and it will happily shatter every comfortable illusion to get you there. The question is, will you shatter voluntarily, or will you wait until the universe does it for you? Phase 4. The dark night of the mirror. Now we enter the territory most people flee. When the chaos has stripped away the relationships, the roles, the identities, the stories, what remains is terrifying. It is the self without the mirror. You have spent a lifetime defining yourself by reflection. I am a good father because my children reflect it. I am successful because my bank account reflects it. I am lovable because my partner reflects it. But when the chaos takes those mirrors away, when the children grow distant, the money vanishes, the partner leaves, you are left staring at a blank wall. No reflection, no identity. And in that moment, you face what Jung called the prima materia, the raw, unformed substance of who you actually are beneath all the costumes. This is the dark night of the ego. Not clinical depression, though it can feel indistinguishable. This is a spiritual demolition. The ego, which has spent decades constructing a coherent narrative of me, suddenly realizes the narrative was a work of fiction. And the collapse is not a failure. It is an initiation. Every genuine spiritual tradition recognizes this passage. The mystics called it the dark night of the soul. The alchemists called it the negrido, the blackening, where all that is false is burned away. Jung called it the confrontation with the shadow, but it's more than that. It's the dissolution of the one who was doing the confronting. Who are you when you're not your story? Not who you were, not who you're trying to be. Who are you in the silent, empty space between chaos and rebirth? This is not a rhetorical question. It is the most important inquiry you will ever undertake. And most people never undertake it because they fill the silence immediately. New relationship, new goal, new drama, anything to avoid the encounter with the void. But the void is not empty. The void is full of everything you are that was never allowed to live. The void is the unlived life. And if you can tolerate being nothing, if you can stop running, stop rebuilding, stop distracting, you will discover that the nothingness is actually a womb. Something is gestating in the dark. But gestation requires stillness. And stillness is the one thing the chaos-addicted mind cannot bear. Here's a practice that is brutally simple and brutally difficult. The next time chaos dismantles something in your life, do nothing. Don't fix it. Don't explain it. Don't defend against it. Don't immediately pivot to a solution. Just sit in the rubble. Feel the impulse to escape, and don't act on it. Watch the stories that arise. I'm a failure. This is unfair. I need to do something, and recognize them as the ego's desperate attempt to regain a narrative foothold. Underneath those stories is a presence, a witness. That witness is not the chaos. That witness is not the victim. That witness is the self, and it has been waiting your whole life for you to stop long enough to notice it. When you stop running from the dark night, you discover it has structure. First comes disorientation, the old maps fail. Then grief, the loss of the person you thought you were. Then rage at the unfairness, at God, at yourself. Then surrender, not defeat, but a relinquishment of the need to understand. And finally, something shifts. A new center of gravity forms, not around achievement or validation, but around an inner certainty that needs no external proof. This is the beginning of what Jung called individuation, the integration of the conscious and unconscious into a unified whole. The mirror is not destroyed. It is cleaned. And for the first time, you see clearly not a projection, but your own face. Phase 5. Mastering the internal mirror. Individuation is not a destination. It is a practice, and the practice has a specific technology. Learning to relate to your internal mirror consciously, rather than being victimized by it unconsciously. I want to give you a framework for this that you can use for the rest of your life. It has 4 movements, and each one builds on the previous. The first movement is recognition. You must catch yourself in the act of projection. When you feel a strong emotional charge, anger, infatuation, envy, contempt, pause and ask, what quality am I attributing to this person that I refuse to own in myself? The person who enrages you with their arrogance, where are you secretly arrogant but disguise it as humility? The person who intimidates you with their confidence, where is your own confidence buried under people-pleasing? The person you're obsessively attracted to, what qualities do they embody that you've disowned? Write it down. Be ruthlessly honest. This is not about moral judgment. This is about retrieval. You are calling back pieces of your soul scattered across the external world. The second movement is integration. Recognizing a projection is not enough. You must actively welcome the quality back into your conscious personality. If you projected your anger, you need to learn to express healthy anger, not rage, but assertion. If you projected your vulnerability, you need to risk being seen in your need. If you projected your power, you need to stop playing small and own your authority. This is uncomfortable because the persona, the mask you've worn, was built to exclude these qualities. Integrating them feels like a betrayal of the self you've been. Good. That's the point. The old self was a compromise with fear. The new self is an alliance with truth. The third movement is dialogue. Jung developed a practice called active imagination, where you literally converse with the figures that appear in your psyche. The inner critic, the victim, the saboteur, the tyrant. These are not random moods. They are autonomous complexes, sub-personalities with their own intelligence and agenda. If you want to stop them from running your life from the basement, you need to invite them upstairs and negotiate. Ask the saboteur, what are you trying to protect me from? Ask the critic, what standard are you holding me to, and who set that standard? Ask the victim, what grief are you carrying that I haven't acknowledged? You will be astonished by the answers. These parts are not trying to destroy you. They're trying to be heard, and when you become the listener they've always needed, they stop sabotaging and start collaborating. The fourth movement is ritual. The psyche is not rational. It speaks in symbol, myth, and ceremony. If you want to master the internal mirror, You need to engage it on its own terms. Create a practice where you regularly meet yourself without distraction. This could be a daily sitting where you ask one question: what am I not seeing? Or a weekly review where you examine the conflicts and triggers of the week and trace them back to their internal source. Over time, you will notice that the chaos in your life decreases in direct proportion to the depth of your inner attendance, not because the world becomes peaceful, but because you stop projecting your war onto it. Here's what happens when you commit to this path. The external world doesn't suddenly become perfect. You still encounter difficult people, hard circumstances, loss, but the quality of the encounter changes. A difficult person no longer sends you into a tailspin of reactivity because you recognize them as a mirror and attend to the reflection before attacking the glass. A loss no longer shatters your identity because your identity is no longer glued to what was lost. You develop what Jung called the transcendent function, a capacity to hold opposites without being torn apart. Joy and grief, power and vulnerability, order and chaos. You become not a battleground but a container, spacious enough to include it all. This is the mastery, not control, not immunity, a radical grounded presence that can face chaos without becoming chaotic. The mirror becomes not a source of torment but a teacher. Every reflection is information. Every trigger is an invitation. Every fall is a chance to meet yourself at a deeper depth. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this revealing in me? And that single shift, that reorientation from victim to student, changes everything. Carl Jung, near the end of his life, wrote that he had spent his years building the tower at Bollingen, a stone structure he built with his own hands. He said that in the tower, he lived without electricity, without running water, in deep connection with nature and his inner world. He called it a place of maturation, where he could become who he truly was. That tower is a metaphor. You have a tower inside you. It has been there since birth, but it's been buried under the debris of projection, trauma, persona, and the chaos you mistook for life. The work is excavation. The work is returning to that inner stone chamber where the noise of the world cannot enter, and in that silence, finally hearing the voice that is not chaos, not programming, not fear, but your own. So I'll leave you with this question, and I want you to sit with it, not for an answer, but as a doorway. If every person who ever hurt you was a messenger, what message have you been refusing to receive? If every loss was a clearing, what space was being made? If every chaos was a call, what version of you was being summoned? Answer not with your mind, answer with your life. The mirror is waiting. Thank you for watching. If this resonated, you already know the work has just begun. Share this with someone who keeps asking why